What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game High School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks for all of you that are watching the videos. It appears that YouTube is continuing to recommend the content far and wide. I really appreciate all of your support. We really got to go ahead and point out a few things that the new audience members are getting into. So first of all, if maybe this is your first, second, third, maybe fourth time watching a video on here, welcome to the Video Game High School channel. We really like analysis here. We'll talk about gaming, but we'll do some predictions based on data that we have, or we'll go back and look at, trends in the gaming industry. It's a lot of fun. I'm a regular guy. I'm a school teacher, so please don't expect some industry level whatever. We're just all in our kitchen looking at the news and going, hey, an audience member of mine, shout out to you, put out a comment here. ECS Whisper 6394, and it was on a video where I talked about how PlayStation pretty much holds games hostage on its platform and blocks these third-party titles. Now, to that, somebody actually pointed out that, at the end of the day, Xbox themselves, who necessarily don't do that as much anymore, bought all these publishers and are still sending their games to PlayStation. And I responded and said, PlayStation bought Bungie and is still doing the exact same. They haven't moved an inch. Bungie was purchased and was going to operate independently. And that means that they're still going to bring their games to Xbox. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you make live service games. It doesn't make any sense to not bring your game to as many people as possible because you really want those communities continuing to vibe and get your games out. And I said, no shame in the game. They're just all trying to get the bag. And they replied and said, no, they don't make games for all platforms, only PC and PlayStation, while Xbox is making games for ponies, PC, and Xbox. Now, this is something that I strongly believe that needs to be pointed out and, in a sense, clarified very well. There are some situations that are out there that, for the most part, nobody likes to cite, or do we even remember citing? Because, again, this is just one of those things where, at the end of the day, when you actually point it out, there are all kinds of different interesting aspects to it. Number one is MLB The Show. MLB The Show is pretty much the one game that PlayStation does develop for Xbox. And they willingly are developing this game for Xbox. I mean, do you want to go through the whole MLB The Show thing? If we need to, then let's do it. So somewhere, somehow, I think a number of years ago, it appeared that, MLB wanted more money. So what they decided to do was they decided to go to Sony and say, hey, man, we need to make more money. So we need this game on more platforms. And to that, they were like, get it to more platforms, or we'll give the IP or the license, we'll give the MLB license to another company who's willing to do that. PlayStation looking and saying, sure, we're going to go ahead and do that. Then there was a statement from them that came out and said MLB wanted to go ahead and do it. But at the end of the day, PlayStation willingly is making that game every year, not just for Xbox, but also for Game Pass. And not until they moved it to Xbox did it see its best sales around the MLB show, the show 2021 release. So again, that comment, even though in isolation, it may seem like it's a valid one, it's not one that's taking into account what really is going on. So again, we want to point this out because, again, like I said on this channel, we really like to go back and take a look at the industry with a fine tooth and comb if we possibly can. Now, what is even the reason MLB The Show is on a different platform? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's because money was not going out to everyone. You see, MLB The Show is a sports game. PlayStation could have just harnessed the process and kept the costs low, but continued to lock it down so that it benefits only them to sell hardware. But MLB is looking at the license and looking at EA, looking at, how they make money for FIFA, looking at the NFL, the NHL licenses, and going, wait, what are we doing? We are MLB. Why is our game not pushing out at least a good amount of copies? And believe you me, it sold 2 million copies in about a month, and they were celebrating. This is when it moved to Xbox and went to Game Pass. And they hadn't seen any of those kinds of sales in volume in a short period of time, according to sales data that we went to look at the time on Wikipedia. Now, granted, that Wikipedia data set could not be verified for previous games, but the highest amount of sales was announced. They said, this is the most amount of sales we've gotten in a little bit of time, and that's verified. Another reason, too, that you go back and look and say, at the end of the day, when you make a game, availability is going to be your best friend. We've already seen Black Myth Wukong have its ESRB rating scheduled and ready to go for the Xbox platform. I can tell you that if Black Myth Wukong does not make it there before Wu Chang, it's going to have some real challenges. And even still, Wu Chang is going on Game Pass, so that's also an added benefit for those on Xbox. Those on PlayStation, if you want to play it, with less money, you can get an Xbox playing machine like a PC or whatever, and you can get the job done. Now, the second scenario of this whole thing coming into full circle, when somebody says that PlayStation doesn't make games for anybody else, I don't think that's quite accurate, because we have very soon, in less than a month actually, another PlayStation published game that is making its way to not only PC, nor is it ever going to, well, for now we know it's not going to Xbox, but surprisingly it's going to Nintendo. So PlayStation is making a game for another platform in order to achieve or do what? Make money. You see, this is the end game. I don't know a lot of this talk about people saying, Xbox acquired a lot of these publishers and end up putting games on other platforms. My dude, if they don't put games on other platforms, they're not going to be able to make, a lot of money in a short period of time. They're not here to do, list wars. We have a game that you don't have. No, Phil Spencer said, I want you, and these are his words, to play games wherever it is that you can. I'm not going to try to make you go and, spend extra money. I don't know if that's kind of what he was implying anyways. He doesn't want you to go spend extra money. He doesn't want to make you think about another extra barrier to go ahead and buy an Xbox game. He wants you to be sitting on your calculator and order an Xbox game from there if you possibly can. That's the Microsoft, paradigm. They do it all the time on other products. That's why they're as big as what it is they are. Apple, on the other hand, I feel like could have been bigger if they had a much open ecosystem, but because they lock it down, they really do limit themselves. I'll give you an example. The only Apple product that I use for my personal use is the iPhone. I've thought about the Apple Watch, but again, the way Apple products are, they don't really give you a lot. So when I think about the fact that it doesn't give you full compatibility with other kinds of watches, I'm limited with my Apple use. I'm not going to go buy another watch. I'm not going to buy an Apple Watch. I'd rather just buy myself a regular watch with the regular classic watch and then call it good and then, do everything else and say, screw it. I'm not giving Apple any more money because I know I'm limited within this ecosystem. And that's how many consumers are. And that's why I think Apple, even with Microsoft not even being strong on hardware, is trailing behind them. I strongly believe it, but that's a whole different conversation. So looking at these two scenarios and, for this particular moment in time, I think anybody who may be thinking about the games industry from that perspective, I think you're probably still locked in maybe 2000 and, 12, 13, 14, the PS4 days. But this new generation has really come with a whole different set of twists to it. And I think that's the paradigm that we need to be looking at everything from. We need to go ahead and start looking and saying, well, we used to think that PlayStation only made games for its own platform. That's pretty much how the Insomniac tweet from, remember 2017, where they said Spider-Man would never come on Xbox or PC. I mean, if we look at this person's comment, especially where they said, no, they don't make games for all platforms, only PC and PlayStation. If you look at this comment in October of 2024 and juxtapose it with a comment from an official source, even a source like Insomniac, where somebody had asked them about Spider-Man and they said, it will never appear on Xbox or PC. It's a permanent PS4 exclusive. You have to tell yourself that now is actually the time where we all have to be careful with absolutes, because these absolutes are, in a sense, going to morph based on different scenarios and different situations. I mean, think about it. PlayStation moved from never to it will take you about 2 years to it's not 2 years to it's about 15 months to it's about day and date, like this game here. I mean, you see the way it's all morphing, or, day and date for the live service games, and over again, things are just changing. So I would say don't hedge your bets on this particular, scenario, because if you do, you're bound to actually be wrong. So what you want to do is you want to say, at the time being, we don't see more than a few PlayStation games, or we don't see more than one PlayStation game that's being developed for Xbox. Before MLB The Show 21, this statement was different. Like, in the Spider-Man days, there's no PlayStation game ever being developed for Xbox. Anybody could have said that and they would have been right at the time. But because of the way times have changed, I'd say we need to just exercise a lot of caution, watch how the industry is going. And I think we'll be able to make, in my opinion, what I think are some of the most accurate of, predictions or even analyses about what is going on in the gaming industry. Anything short of that is you're setting up yourself, to basically be wrong and have your tweet be a news article years later down the road. So thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Peace out.